Good afternoon, and welcome to the Thursday, November 13th meeting of the Town of Penfield's Energy and Environmental Conservation Committee. I am Cynette Cavaliere, the chair of the committee, and I would like us to start by introducing ourselves, and we'll start with Stephen.
Good evening. Committee member Stephen Daly.
John Bennett, committee member.
Roy Green, committee member.
Cheremeteff, committee member.
Pat Schichler, committee member.
Katie Rygg, committee member.
Matt Prinzing, planning department liaison.
Sarah Waterman, engineering department liaison.
Kevin Barry, town board liaison.
Okay, thank you. Our first item is the review and approval of minutes from the October 9th meeting. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you. Are there any questions, corrections, concerns? Okay, go ahead and call it.
For the vote, Daly.
Aye.
Bennett.
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
Cheremeteff.
Aye.
Schichler.
Aye.
Cavaliere.
Aye.
Rygg.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, next is the standing report from the Monroe County Environmental Management Council. And as a bonus, there are two of them for this month. The first one is the September meeting, which Katie attended for me. Thank you again for that. And this is based on the notes from our scribe during the meeting, which is Liz. Can you go back up? And I have lost her name. Captain, yes, thank you. Usually try not to do that too often, but yes. So these are Liz's notes on some of the things that we heard from the different towns. I always love this meeting just because it's fun to hear what other towns are doing and to kind of catch some of the ideas of some of their best practices. I did have one that, I'm trying to think of which one it was. Oh, it's the Town of East Rochester there that you are sitting on here, that they, a gentleman bought 27 acres of land and signed it over potentially as a conservation easement. Do we have a methodology for Penfield to do those?
It's happened this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know. So it's definitely worth a read in case.
Was that where Rothfuss Park came from?
I don't recall.
I don't believe so, because that is, Rothfuss Park is town land. It's not privately.
A conservation
You're correct.
easement would mean the
Right.
person would still own it.
Oh,
just,
no,
yeah.
okay, okay, that maybe it was donated then.
So there is the option that residents can sometimes, or property owners can potentially donate land or sell land to the town. It's a little more complicated. Often conservation easements come out of people that own land and want to have a conservation easement on it, or developers that are developing land and the town requires a conservation easement for one reason or another.
Okay.
Now, how is that different from this easement that's going on East Rochester to that of Hibbs Brook Preserve?
Hibbrook Preserve is
Isn't that
owned by the Genesee, right? Let's say that's
the Genesee Valley or Nature?
Genesee Land Trust.
Got it.
And so they have that property, and then there's the Irene Gosson Nature Preserve that's also Genesee Land Trust.
Got it.
And then Nature Conservancy, they own the 1,000-acre, or portions of 1,000-acre swamp.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We do have like some easements through the 1,000-acre swamp, those kinds
Right.
of things. That
Yeah.
would be more along the lines of a conservation easement, or like in Rocco Pines, part of the rear properties on one section have conservation easements.
Right.
Understood.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Good clarification. And then I think we can go ahead, and the second one is the one from the October meeting. And our topic was bird window collisions, which was very timely because it was aligned with the migration season in Rochester. So we got a lot of information on ways to help protect birds from window collisions. A lot of statistics in there in terms of the number of birds that annually hit windows and lower levels of buildings, so it's not the height of the building necessary. It's pretty much where the foliage, trees and stuff are reflected in the windows. It's what really kind of throws them off. So lots of interesting ideas on things you can do to protect your houses if you have windows that seem to be attracting birds to smash into them. However, the number one cause of birds disappearing in the U.S. is actually cats. So wild kitties that have been outside are the ones that, maybe not even wild ones. I know that my cat snatched one day too, so yes, cats are quite the predator to birds in their area. But we are just about wrapping up the migratory season in our area. It goes through November 15th, so just a reminder, it's a little bit, I know they celebrate dark sky in the spring, but the same thing can be effective in the fall, is to make sure that we manage our outdoor lighting. Our next meeting is next Wednesday at RIT, and we're going to get a tour of some of the sustainability efforts at RIT. So, okay. Any questions on that? Good. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into the review of required items. The first one is town development projects.
Yeah, so we've contacted the subcommittee that'll be reviewing this, so it'll be Roy, Ari, and Pat that are reviewing this particular project. In summary, this is a site plan and subdivision, so this is 1320 Harris Road, and they're looking to subdivide 1320 into 2 lots and build a single-family home on the property. I'll just pull up one of the plans here. I did give paper copies to the subcommittee so that they can look those over while they're doing their site visit and writing up their report. Just a general timeline, we're discussing this for the first time as a committee today. Prior to November 26th, we're hoping that the subcommittee can conduct a site visit. Then on December 1st, they provide a draft report to town staff who would review it that week. Then on December 5th, the draft report would be shared with the rest of the ECC. And then at our next meeting on December 11th, we'd come again to discuss the draft report, potentially approve it, and send it to the developer or the applicant and the planning board. And that meeting after us on the December 11th is the public hearing for this application. So that's the timeline, but we're just going to follow up. So this is the site plan showing the tree survey as well as the proposed clearing limit. So that's where the single-family home is now, and this is approximately where the clearing and the new single-family home would be. I know that members of the subcommittee were asking about the wetland delineation. So just to show, there are federal wetlands. So this is from the National Wetland Index. And this is shown on the site plan, this boundary here. They're not doing any, or they're not proposing any earthwork within this boundary. So it doesn't require a review specifically for that. And then you have, so the one clarification that I wanted to make for the subcommittee and for the rest of the committee is that the DEC, they updated their mapping in January of this year. And so you had just, before it was just the jurisdictional DEC wetlands, and then they had a 100-foot buffer and a 500-foot buffer. And now what they have is what's called the previously mapped wetlands and the informational wetlands, which show where wetlands may be. And so the applicant had mentioned that the DEC expanded their wetland boundary in January, and effectively what they're saying that is that previously there were no wetlands mapped on this property, and then they added a wetland. So There weren't, like I said, there wasn't previously mapped wetlands for the DEC before, and now this area in purple is where the informational wetland boundary is. They don't show the informational wetland boundary on the site plans. One of the town's project review committee comments is that in subsequent plans, they add the informational wetland boundary to the map or to the site plans so that we can see it and respect. They have done a wetland delineation, which is shown on the plans, and they also show a 100-foot buffer from that wetland delineation, but we have yet to receive the jurisdictional determination from the DEC. So once we have that, we'll have an idea of, I guess we haven't clarified if they submitted for a project JD or a parcel JD. So take a slight detour, but still in the same context. We've been talking about the Northrop Solar Field project, or it's been mentioned before that they received a positive parcel JD previously. Essentially, the DEC said that there are wetlands on the property. They received in this last month a negative JD for the project. So that's essentially saying that the project is not impacting the wetlands on the parcel. So in that context, EECC won't be reviewing that project because effectively what the DEC has said is that they're not impacting the wetlands, so it doesn't, require an EPOD permit, so it wouldn't come to EECC. Now, with this project, again, we haven't received a JD letter, so we're still waiting, and it could be that the DEC finally says, there's a negative project jurisdictional determination, so effectively they don't need a wetland EPOD permit from the town. And so that's why in these early stages, we're asking the subcommittee to look at the wetlands, take notes, and we can reference that later on. But at this time, we're really focusing on the impacts to the woodlands because those are known, and we need to consider what should be factored into the woodland EPOD replacement policy. So any questions regarding that? I know that, so again, the boundary, or one of the boundaries you see on the site plans is this National Wetland Index, or the National Wetland Boundary, but this one is not on there, the informational one. But like I said, it will hopefully be on, or it should be on subsequent plans.
So is it showing what is the green? Is the green, what is the green?
The green is the federal wetlands.
Okay, and so the proposed, which is not showing on our maps, is when you put the green back, it's the purple.
So this purple boundary is not on the site plans, but it should be in the subsequent plans if we receive subsequent plans.
And how many feet between the edge of the purple and the proposed construction?
I'm not sure. I can check on that. But again, the informational boundary is an assumption that wetlands may be there.
Sure.
And what they're showing on the site plan, let me pull up.
I'm just curious if
So it
it's
needs to have a 100-foot
Yeah.
buffer.
And that's what I think that's
They
the
have
drawing
that
you're
in the
asking
drawing,
them.
but they have it based on,
They have it
Right,
based
so-
on
the federal.
right.
What they're
Federal
showing,
wetlands.
I didn't measure it. I didn't
No.
measure it. I don't
this
know
is
how much they have to play with,
this
but-
is sheet 3, right? Or sorry, sheet number 4. And this is showing their wetland delineation. This is the federal boundary here. And this is the
Oh,
buffer
No,
from
that-
their
that's-
delineation.
No, that's the flood, isn't it the floodplain? That's the floodplain FEMA line, the line you just
Oh, sorry.
pointed to.
Yes, sorry. So that is, if I go back to,
So one of their drawings, they show the limit of the, hold on, 4. Sorry, I gotta get back up there. So
sorry. Yeah, so this is the limit of the federal wetlands.
Federal, and then they have the limit of the DEC one, but it's under review,
Yes.
which is further back, which is fine, but just, that might change, and I just wanted to
Yes.
clarify that.
Yeah, that is subject to change.
Yep.
And then, so this line here is the 100-foot buffer from this line, from their wetland delineation. Sorry?
The line with the curve and the dash.
This one here?
Over towards the disturbance area, one more line.
This one?
Yeah, the limit
That's
of.
the limit of the New York State DEC jurisdictional wetland buffer.
Right, so that's this line.
Yes.
Yep.
It's the state.
So
So
it's
it's-
not,
No,
it's the DEC, not federal.
I think that's supposed to be
sorry,
the
so
federal,
this
though.
is, that line is the delineation that the applicant, yes, and what
That's their
that the applicant submitted to the DEC.
Okay.
That is not a line created by the New York State DEC
Okay,
or
can you
by,
highlight which line that is again?
that's this line.
Funky line.
Okay,
Jagged line.
Yes.
Okay.
The jagged line is the one that is the wetland delineation by the developer, by McManus. And this line is a buffer from that line.
okay.
So,
And so they're showing that they are outside of the 100-foot buffer from their delineation. And so the result of the project AD process would effectively say that they are outside of, if the DEC accepts their wetland delineation, would effectively say that they're outside of the wetland and outside of the adjacent area, which is that 100-foot buffer.
okay, I gotcha.
All right. And of course, if there's any follow-up questions, you've got my number, my email, so.
Good. Any other questions on that for now?
Oh,
I guess-
I have one.
Yes.
When we're doing the site visit, does that homeowner need to be notified? I mean, the only access is through their drive. Is that a drive? That's a private drive, right? Yeah, it's a
I mean, I
driveway.
think, correct me if I'm wrong, but in like years past, we typically don't feel that we need to notify when we're going out of the, sorry.
The project applicant did not request a notification, and by the town code, we have the authority to enter the property for this purpose.
Okay.
So you are not required to notify them. If it makes you more comfortable, you can absolutely knock on their door and let them know why you're there, but that is not a requirement.
Okay.
The last application that was at the Penfield Country Club, the reason why we organized it is because it's a place of business, there's
Right.
security, and we just wanted to ensure that, there wasn't, an assumption that somebody,
How
effectively
do
just
you get
made-
into this? How will you
And-
get close enough to see?
Okay.
Well, we'll have to walk in, we'll have to hike in.
You'll have to walk in through the woods.
Yeah.
Okay.
It will likely be a little bit hard to determine exactly where the boundaries are going to be for the project.
GIS.
But I would open Google
Well-
Maps, and that should help you.
Okay.
And I think that I personally would have this, or try and maybe circle certain trees that are going to be very obvious to see on the site.
Yeah.
And just a note, I think I mentioned this to the subcommittee, but so the limit of EPOD woods, they used the old boundary. They didn't do their calculation or their site plan with the new boundary, but the extent of their tree survey does cover the entire woodlot EPOD area on the property that is being impacted, I should say.
Are they going to submit revised drawings with the current?
Yeah, so that was another one of the comments, is that subsequent plans
I
have
didn't
the
catch
new
that.
boundary.
They'll also have to have more detail on the disturbance area pertaining to the woodlot EPOD, or
Okay. Right.
woodland EPOD,
Yeah.
and an assortment of other comments.
Okay.
Oh, one last thing. So they submitted the tree survey. Just to clarify, that's not a requirement anymore.
I
They
was
don't
impressed.
necessarily need to provide this information. It's helpful
Yeah.
in this case, but it's not a requirement of the EPOD application review process.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Are there any other requests from the town board?
Not at this time.
Okay. Any clean energy community actions?
There are no major updates for clean energy community actions. We are still collecting documents, hoping that the community campaigns will be a part of the next pond that comes out.
Okay. Are you surprised that nothing has come out, or is this still within the realm of normalcy?
I don't think there is a realm of normalcy, but from the person I know that's on the subcommittee for that, anecdotally, or he has mentioned that they're not expecting anything before the end of the year, so I'm not yet surprised, and he hasn't changed that statement yet.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving into old business, the first item is community choice aggregation.
Sure. So you haven't seen community choice aggregation on here for a while.
I
It's
got the
on
notice
here.
in the mail.
Yeah, it's on here now because the town will not be continuing with the program. Constellation has sent a termination letter. A filing is being filed with the Public Service Commission. As disappointing as that is, it's due to some timeline issues as well as changing regulations with the Public Service Commission. So at this point, it will not be renewed. If future town boards choose to start it over, that will be up to them, and an RFP would have to be put out for a program administrator, and we would have to get proposals for that, choose one, and go through the whole process again.
So what kind of feedback have you gotten from town residents or participants in that program?
I've mostly received negative feedback about the program existing. I have received a few people that are disappointed the program is ending. But that's just what I'm getting. I don't think that's a good summation of what everybody feels. I can tell you that as of October, about 35% of residents were still in the program. That means that 65% have opted out in the last 4 years.
It may be good to do some sort of, I know you don't really like to do surveys, but just get some feedback from the community, whether it's worth pursuing this in the future again. Like, I know we've made suggestions about surveys in the past, but if that's a possibility, it'd be good to get some feedback.
If we were to do that, I know we would need support from the town board. So at this point, if that's to happen, I would expect that to happen next year, realistically.
Yeah, that's fair.
It sounds like something that possibly could be tied into a phase 2 of the climate action plan.
Yes.
If we're already engaging the community, and if it does align that we do phase 1 next year and then phase 2 is the year after, then that could be part of the engagement, is that we do community survey that revolves around a lot of different, sustainability topics, but one of them being, were you a participant of the CCA program for, each iteration of it? Did you enjoy it? Things like that. But
Yeah, if you opted out, why did you opt out?
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I understand the immediacy of wanting to do it soon after, the program ends. But I feel like even 2 years from now, it should be recent in enough people's minds. But yeah.
Is there any resources on eco-friendly options for
Sure.
us to pursue?
So if residents would like to have renewable electricity, an option would be to go to the Department of Public Services website for New York and look at the marketplace. It's not as easy, I would say, to get energy from there, just because it's a more complicated process than being automatically enrolled. But that is an option if you would like renewable energy for your electricity still.
Do you know during the peak of people having selected it, what was the percentage? You said it was 35
Well, so
recently, but what was it in
To
like
be
the peak?
clear, residents didn't select to be in the program to
Not
start
so
with. It was an
opted
opt-out
in, Right, how
program.
many, what was the percent?
Well, so at the beginning of the program, 100% were in it. And within the first 3 months of the program running, about 30% opted out.
Okay.
And that includes the 30-day opt-out period prior to the program starting.
So it was still 70 was probably the max then? And
I
then
would
it
say
declined.
70 was probably the max. I
And that year's,
definitely,
that first contract period was profitable for those in it.
there was
So-
the first 2 years, there was an average savings per resident within the program of about $100 total. over those 2 years. I can tell you, a month ago, I was still receiving calls from residents that didn't realize they were in it. And we've sent multiple mailings. We've done so many public information meetings. We've done social media information. Color Penfield Green has done so much information. But I was still last month receiving calls from people that did not know they were in it and just found out.
That speaks to the complexity of our bills.
I think it speaks to a number of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
It just gets lost in-
I'm glad that the town at least was able to do it while we were.
Yeah.
Yes, and as one of the people that worked on the initial program, I'm sad that it's changed, the circumstances have changed so much to make it not viable for
I can tell
good
you,
energy.
In the last round of review by the Public Service Commission for filings, 25 of them were rejected. Ours was one of those. 24 of those were by a different program administrator, and those were their second try at filing. Their first try was in July, and they were also rejected at that point. So I can tell you it is no longer as easy, not that I think it was ever easy, but no longer as easy to meet those guidelines. And I can tell you there were a number of other filings over the summer that were rejected as well by other program administrators.
Doesn't New York State want communities to do community choice aggregation?
That's a great question.
Are there any successful administrators in the state currently?
My understanding is that there are successful ones that did not renew this year.
Wild.
Yeah. Timing,
And
all about the timing.
To be clear, it's my job to give you the facts, not to give you my opinion or what I think the state feels.
Well, I think it was in the scoping plan for their climate law to help communities do this. So I think that's a safe assumption that they wanted this to happen.
I can tell you that January of this year, the regulations changed.
So when you said many of the successful administrators did not renew, that was by their choice.
There's only 3 successful program administrators in the state, and all of them have had rejected filings this year.
Oh, they were rejected, okay.
The filings were
The
rejected.
ones that are still in place are ones that didn't have to renew this
Right.
year.
Their renewal period wasn't this
okay.
year.
Yes, so
Because most of them are 2-year programs.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there a number of participation, like percentage-wise, that would deem one of the administrators or administrators successful?
I don't think that's a stat that's available.
Got it. Then what deems different communities successful versus others?
I think that would be more of an opinion, and to share with this committee, my opinion of a successful community would be one that is still running.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when you talk success, it was with the commission or whoever was approving their application's success in achieving.
Yeah, in
Yes,
getting
not
an
context.
approval and
Yes.
not a
Right.
rejection letter.
Yeah.
Yeah, not in the context of the amount of residents enrolled.
Yeah. That would be an opinion of, I would say,
Yeah.
town boards.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, do they receive a reason for the rejection?
Yes. It included some items, and it's a public filing that you can find online. It's a letter that basically says that some items were missing from the application, some items did not meet requirements. Upon review of those items with the Public Service Commission, my understanding is that some of those are written guidelines and some are not.
Oh, I was going to say, so I was looking for a common theme, if there was, so.
That seems to be the common thing.
Okay.
Yeah. They just chose not to, basically, is what it came down to.
Finding ways to.
Yep, no soup for you.
No super.
There we go.
Could be a staff cut issue too, right? Could be a staff cut issue too. You just don't have enough people to run the programs. I don't know.
There's definitely some staffing concerns with the Public Service Commission at this
Yeah.
time. They've stated that,
Yeah.
like the staff there.
Okay, so that's gone.
Yep. So alternatives would be, at minimum, to go to the New York State DPS website and look at their marketplace if you want another option for renewable energy for your electricity service at this time, or your electricity supply. And Matt just brought that website up.
Oh.
You can also Google it. It's DPS New York. And I would search New York State Power to Choose.
Community solar is related but different, and so there are companies in this area that are offering community solar, and the wait time last we looked was a few months, but you can get in line and start saving relatively quickly.
Yep. And for reference, similar to the solar projects coming into town, those are going to be community solar projects through GreenSpark, and that's just one example of a community solar project in the area. And there's also other groups that provide that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, next is the Climate Action Plan, RFP.
Great. We wanted to share that we have conducted interviews. We received 16 proposals in response to our RFP, and we had 4 interviews. Our hope is that our expectation is that at the 11/19 town board meeting, the town board will discuss it as part of their work session. And our hope is that either at that meeting or the December meeting, because there's a special ledge for the 19th, that they may approve a consultant. And then we can encumber some of the funds from this year for next and have a budget line next year for our grant money, because that's a reimbursable grant. And so you're aware that timeline for this project still fits the required timeline for the Climate Action Plan grant through the consolidated funding application that we were approved for.
And the town board knows that timeline as well, so that's a goal there.
They're going to get a document this Friday about it, but it's been brought up to them before.
Okay. It's not good to give money away, so I'm going to do that.
Or let it disappear.
Yeah. Poof.
Yeah.
Okay, that brings us up to the EECC progress document.
Yeah, so I've been updating this today for those that aren't familiar with it or haven't looked at this in a while. Essentially, we have the progress document, and this is a section of discussion topics, and if you click on any one of the discussion topics, it'll bring you to that discussion topic page. So I've been adding updates to it based on accomplishments or deadlines for accomplishments for 2025, then any known deadlines for 2026. And then we also have like definitive goals for 2026, or really 2025, because applying to Tree City USA, we do that annually in December, same with the Mayor's Monarch Pledge. So we'll be doing that in the coming month. Hosting the Arbor Day celebration.
Couple weeks.
Right, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Before the end
You
of the
said
month.
couple months, and I was like thinking,
Oh.
no, don't delay.
Sorry, no, within the next month.
Okay,
Right,
good.
yeah, sorry.
It'll be completed before the end of the month.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you zoom in a bit and maybe close the comments down or something?
Sure.
Thank you.
There we go.
At the top, you can make.
There you go, that works.
Okay. Yeah, so we have host the 2026 Arbor Day celebration, update the town sustainability website, which we had mentioned earlier in the year that this document can kind of help us with things that could be added to update the sustainability website. Asked a town landscape consultant for recommended tree species for further plantings at Rothfuss Park. I know that we had the concern that because I think the first year of plantings, it was a lot of red maple seedlings, and this past year we did red maples and white oak, I believe. It was definitely a species of oak, but we're trying to, prevent a monoculture of trees being planted there.
It's 2 reds and a white, right? That was red maple, red bud, and white.
No, you're thinking of the Arbor Day giveaway plants.
Oh, yeah, that's
The-
right.
the
We're
tree-
talking
sorry.
about plantings now, aren't we?
Right, yeah, but it was not a red bud.
Redbud was the
giveaway.
That's- I thought- okay,
Right,
sorry,
but
I
it
thought
was
that's what
red
you were saying.
maple and I believe white oak
That you
were the.
planted.
Oh, that you planted, okay.
That we planted at Rothfuss Park.
Yes.
Right.
So that we
Is that
didn't have a
list- is that-
monoculture.
Is that listed on the completed goals? That we
No,
did
but
tree planting?
I can make a note to add that we had
Okay.
those plantings.
The 2026 Arbor Day, is that usually the Saturday after Earth Day?
It's a good question because the feedback from the car show, the EV car show organizers is that if we can push ours a few weeks later in the year, so it usually is mid to late April, if we can push it into May, then we have better weather and makes it, probably more ideal for an outdoor event. The only hiccup with that is that we typically try and align it with whenever we receive the
trees.
seedlings. So if we were to push it out, then we'd need to find some way of storing the seedlings for up to a few weeks
The
and
other-
ensuring that they
Which I
don't.
strongly recommend against storing them for a few weeks. They're much less likely to survive.
Sure.
Is it usually held here?
It's
The community center?
The community center, okay, because
Yeah.
baseball,
Um,
I'm thinking baseball is crazy here in
That's
spring.
kind of one of the complications
Yeah.
with those saplings is you want them planted as soon as possible for
Mm-hmm.
the survival rate to stay where it is, which isn't incredible to begin with, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
I was a failure this year, I will admit
Oh,
it.
really?
No.
Man.
It is very hard for those bare roots.
Yep.
Well, and truthfully, I think part of what probably helped some residents was having some education at the table of how to trim the roots and make sure that they would survive. But they're still limited.
Yep.
Yeah. But at the same time, the town can't buy full-size trees for that many people.
Did all
So
the
there's a
ones that were
balance.
planted, the larger trees, did all of them survive?
That's my understanding.
Okay, good. That's a good statistic for us.
And they have a higher survivability rate as well. So
Right.
that helps.
Shrubs, do shrubs have a higher survivability rate than trees?
I don't recall.
The bare root?
For the bare root, I don't recall.
Yeah. I still think,
recall
I believe
Stephen
trees are still more
mentioned having trouble
desirable.
with his
though,
shrubs,
for-
is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm now finding out, though, that this is normal, and I was handing them out with such glee to people, and it turned out that I was probably setting them up for disappointment. But, it's something we can try to work on in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the balance of these, like providing free bare root saplings. Yeah.
It would be an interesting, you talk about surveying, it would be interesting to have a QR code that says, tell us in a few months how your tree did.
I like that.
To kind of know what kind of survival rates we're getting. Maybe get some best practices in place.
Or like a competition to see who has the healthiest one.
Yeah, just write me off the list.
Yeah, I don't think I ever got any of mine to
tried.
survive,
Oh, really?
so. But I think one of the shrubs that I planted
Did
did.
survive.
But it is a very successful event in terms
is
of
great.
getting people
Yes.
to
Out.
the community center, seeing all of the tabling groups there.
Educating.
Educating
Yeah.
people.
And we
about
haven't
native
gotten a
plants and all that.
resounding group of people coming back and going, "Hey, they all died.
No.
So I have a feeling that
Yeah, that's-
many people had success with them.
Right.
So,
I know that, I remember, John, you had brought up, maybe in the meeting or two before our 2025 Arbor Day celebration, the possibility of partnering with, what's the Good Neighbor Day?
Yeah, Good
Like,
Neighbor Day.
If we were able to have like if we were to have a group that was willing to bring trees to plant or whatever plant that we give out at the Arbor Day celebration. How do we feel about that if we're able to organize something like that? My only concern is that, the assumption is that the Good Neighbor Day the Good Neighbor Day, you're going out and doing yard work for people in groups that otherwise have difficulty doing it on their own. And now planting something in their yard, which requires a lot of maintenance, and, does it really make sense to plant a tree in the yard that they may not be capable of taking care of?
Right.
So it seems like a good thought, but I'm not sure of like
Maybe
the
an
follow-through.
adjacent effort.
my house.
I'd say something that we could probably do as an adjacent effort is share information about the Arbor Day Foundation. Is that right? Arbor Day Foundation and their tree giveaways around the same time that year. It may ideally allow more people to get multiple trees and potentially have at least one of them survive,
Sure, yeah.
if not both.
So you could also share like the DEC's giveaway and low-cost trees that they do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Some of their program, they have a program for like along stream corridors where you can get a certain number
Free
of trees
trees.
and that kind of
Yep.
thing.
I'm pretty sure Color Bright and Green offers free trees at their, at the farmers markets too. I think they raise trees and then give them away there, but
Just for Arbor Day or like on a regular basis?
on a regular
So
basis.
you mean
So there are
really?
ways to get, yeah.
Yeah. 'cause they
Town
have their
raises
own-
the trees and does it?
So they
with
actually,
the
they
town.
get the Monroe County trees, they plant them. I think they give them some survivability, and then they kind of redistribute them.
Yeah.
Cool. So-
That was one of the, roundtable discussions, is that they
Yeah.
basically started their own nursery.
So we could work with some local schools or kids and say, hey, we want to give away not bare root trees, but actual trees and like little planters that have like root balls on them. You know, can you grow them for us and raise them and be kind of like a school project?
I love that idea.
I do too.
Or the scout troop, which is
Scouting
what you
troop,
started
scout
with.
project.
Troops, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, even like a local elementary school. My little girl's class did like a whole flower thing. We still actually have it in our house to this day.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. Stuff, yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to get to, but I know that sometimes there's other tabling at the Arbor Day event because to give little pollinator plants away, if there's something, when we're talking about something concurrent, if there's possibilities to do that, that might have a better chance of survival in terms of getting things out there.
You're probably looking to, you're thinking giving away plants, not seeds?
Right.
Oh, interesting.
Or seeds, I guess if that's something, all that we can do.
I mean, that is an option, is to get seed
Coneflower in
packets or
everybody's yard. They seem to grow easily.
an obedient plant from mine.
I have obedient plants.
Like obedient weeds, the plants not so much.
How do you make your weeds obedient?
I don't join.
Oh, guys. Okay, reel it in, guys. I've lost control.
I just wanted to bring up, because one thing that we had also discussed is ECC has never really had an opportunity to provide input on what plants they'd like to order. It's always been, we have, like, the catalog comes out mid-December, and we have to order them as soon as possible, so we get what we want. So I created a survey that I'll send out to the committee that shows the options that were available in the 2025 catalog, and you just give us a preference of what you'd like. I filtered out ones that, because we had originally had, I think Douglas fir was one that we considered, but then our consultant, or the landscape consultant that we asked them, and they said that would not be preferable, so we ended up going with white spruce.
And
then there was another one, or any plants that were, because they offer native plants and naturalized plants. I just filter out anything that's naturalized. And so you'll be able to just rank the conifers that were available in 2025, what would be your preference, the shrubs, the deciduous trees, there's lots of those, and then what would you like us to order? I had other, because other may be one of these wildflower seed mixes, if we wanted to
Okay.
have packets like that ordered.
You did go that place then already.
Well, yeah, so this was available in 2025 typically. I mean, again, I don't know if it will be available in the 2026 catalog, but yes, it's an option. But yeah, so I provided a link to the 2025 catalog if you want to take a closer look at those species. But yeah, so if you can provide responses to this over the next month or so before the 2026 catalog is produced, then we'll have a better idea of what this group would want us to order.
And I would say if you can ideally respond before the next meeting,
Yeah.
that will give us a chance at the next meeting to discuss anything applicable. And then the catalog normally comes out mid to late December, so we would be able to have your input.
When did you say you were sending us the survey?
I'll send it this evening or
Okay.
tomorrow, yeah.
So.
You could go home and have dinner and wait till
Yes,
tomorrow.
thanks, appreciate it.
So I think last year we talked about, so last year the Climate Solutions Accelerator had their annual summit earlier in the month, but this month it is going to be the 24th, 25th, which is very likely the same weekend as the shrub giveaway, which would then typically, like historically, has been kind of forced us to do, not forced us, but that's what we chose, the EV car show, to do the same weekend. But if we could get people to help volunteer to plant 200 seedlings, could that be like, and I'm saying this
Hypothetically.
well, no, because last year I purchased 50
Where?
to do this and store them at in my backyard for the month between when the seedling giveaway happened and when our Scribner spring fling happened. So like I know what 50 would take, so 200 doesn't seem that much harder. Anyway, I just want to throw that possibility out that I would love to I could get volunteers.
So you need volunteers to store them? Is that what you're asking?
200 isn't going to take up that much space.
Okay.
It sounds like a lot, but they're babies.
Where do you
They're-
keep
Well, so
them?
it's store and maintain them.
Yeah.
You have to water them and, yeah.
Yeah.
But where do you
Take care of
keep them in the yard?
But we're just talking about a couple of weeks, and yeah, it would be in my
You just planted them in your backyard?
I
That's
didn't
what-
plant them. They were in
Just in
yogurt
pots?
containers
Oh.
that we wrapped.
We can do that. I can do that.
Kid drawings.
What
Which
do you
is
mean
so
it
fun.
had-
Because I thought you said
they
to
were-
plant
they were in-
them.
They were in soil.
They were in soil.
Yeah.
I
Little
did make a
pots.
small
You just
purchase
water
of
them, make
soil.
sure they get enough everything. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do
Put a
it.
couple holes in the bottom so it drains out. and,
Yeah.
So I don't overwater. You're good.
Yeah,
I'll take some.
it was perfect.
So you have to eat a lot of yogurt ahead of time.
Well, I think you can probably get the containers pretty easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Recycling facilities, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to throw out that
As
possibility.
an option,
of- Yeah.
to get them and then hold them. It's not a necessarily big deal. We could
So
do
if-
something to
If
protect
that's
them.
something that this group would want to not host, but to manage, that is something that's a potential.
I can captain that ship if you'd like. Okay.
I still think we should get some kids involved in the process. I think it'd be
I'm
great.
Definitely getting my kid involved.
But no, like if,
He's
like,
You mean like do it with the school?
like at school.
Yeah, we
I
have
like
the
that.
environmental
That's
club
actually-
at Scribner could help.
Yeah.
But it sounds
help
like your
plant that kind of
daughter'd be
thing.
all in as well.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And probably yours, too.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
That'd be a cool
For like
project.
3 days and then.
For 3 days, yeah.
And then you would be
Part of their
watering
tour
it?
list. Daily check on the plants.
Well, they might get left at one or two locations for more continuous
Yeah,
monitoring
yeah.
to,
But sign me up for that.
not my
That would-
house,
That would be,
as we figured
that'd be
out.
really easy, especially between this whole group, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any
think that's a-
thoughts on what species, we can
But
take
I
this
would
into the
wait
next
for our
meeting.
survey and all of us to do research on,
I'm just thinking of if there's any particular species that would be better to do this with, where we're like temporarily trying to preserve them in yogurt containers, as opposed to others that are like absolutely like, you need to get them in the ground and they're just very needy in that first month.
I would probably recommend, consider that when you're doing your survey.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Hardy
Which ones?
species.
If this is something you're definitely interested in, consider that when you're doing your survey, and then when we talk at the next meeting, reviewing the survey results, ideally, we can come back and have a better idea of if this is a functional plan. Not that it's not, like,
no, I
an
understand.
opportunity.
Yeah. We
But
went
if
with
we
the-
can keep going with it.
We went with the wildberry pack last year, and that was 5 different species, and they all made it, and they were looking really
That's nice.
good after 6 weeks or
So
whatever.
that was a shrub pack, right? Or, do you recall? It was shrubs or trees?
Tree and shrub, there was a mix.
Oh, okay, cool. That's exciting.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I would say, and we can talk more, maybe don't send it out tonight after your meeting, but maybe tomorrow you can add the PACs as an option
Okay,
to the survey.
sure.
Just so it covers everything that I think we would cover.
And then we get
less
diversity.
need for the other option. Okay.
So then the one thing I noticed from our progress document is that sustainability website. And is that something that we should, for next year, actually plan to do like a work session on and have everybody look at it and come up with things that
If
we...
that's how you want to approach it, we absolutely can. This year, we presented it as, please send us some ideas. I definitely got one person to send those.
Yes.
And no, they have not all been implemented. But that is a helpful way. Also updating this document with some ideas and then maybe doing the work session would
Okay.
be the most productive, I'd probably say.
Yeah, we all should take a look at it and...
Because part of it
And see.
isn't just, it's not just providing like, oh, this project should be on the website. It's, the goal is to provide language that would go on the website. And of course, our PCTV will review that language before they publish it, and we'll review that for accuracy pertaining to the town. But the writing all of the information is a larger task than just getting the ideas.
Yeah. So while there's some links that are fairly current, like the pollinator pathway is linked off our page, there's not really a lot of new content itself in the verbiage. So it's like, do we want to change that? It's good stuff, but
So I have a question, like the Penfield newsletter that comes out, there's an electronic one, but then there's also that printed one that comes out, I think. Is that like a newsletter, like a book? It talks about the stuff at Penfield that's going on?
Is that?
Oh, like with the classes?
Yeah, like
Oh, the rec
Oh, you mean the
catalog?
brochure?
Yeah, the rec
like
brochure.
that thing, yeah, that right there. When does that come out for 26 and?
So that comes out, I think, 3 times a year. I want to say it's winter, spring and summer, and then fall.
Winter and spring.
Okay, winter and spring, summer, and then fall. So it comes out 3 times a year.
So when would you need content for that, and is there anything we should be putting into that book?
For the next one, that was December, no, that was October that they needed it for the winter, spring one.
Okay,
The next one, I want to say that's February or March that they need, is the deadline. I'm not sure what kind of information you'd want to put in it.
Well, for
Other than maybe
example-
like pollinator pathway.
or like our Earth Day or Arbor Day celebration.
Yeah, that would be applicable.
It's, I mean,
So it's awkwardly timed if we haven't made the decision and it sounds like the deadline's already passed.
That's most of the time what happens.
So we
the
really...
last 2 years, have we felt disappointed in the turnout? Do we feel like we really need to do more advertising? It feels like it's been well advertised and well attended. So
Yeah, you did
as
win
much as
that
I'd
one.
want it to be, it's just that there's so many unknowns in October about an event occurring
Okay.
in late April.
That is true.
Because it all depends on when the trees are actually going to be available.
And ideally, like, I mean, the decision of timing for the EV show wasn't,
Yeah.
and that was March, I think, when we determined that. And I think that was also because we pushed that a little bit to happen sooner, like to pick a date sooner for the EV show because we were getting the saplings.
And yeah, that date is not consistent when the saplings are ready for pickup.
And the soonest we find that out is the end of December.
Right.
So I guess just for short, yes, I think it would be great to be able to put that into the brochure. And last year, we did talk about doing that, but the timing just didn't work out. So if we can make that timing work out this year, especially if there is an option to have a group plant these saplings and have them maintained for whatever period is appropriate and necessary before the show and Arbor Day celebration, that would make it more realistic that we could have an item in the brochure for that.
Could you go over again the reason why you're thinking delaying handing them out? You know, I mean, I realize that the when we get the shrubs binds us to when we deliver them, or they have to so far, but what is the goal to waiting and doing it at a different time?
Temperatures. It is always so miserable at the
Well,
EV
and
car show, but
I would
also
say
the
it's
accelerator
twofold.
has their conference.
So part of it is the weather,
Yeah.
and part of it is that in the past, we have chosen to do it in conjunction with the EV show. And that's shown great turnout, so we ideally don't want to stray from that. Having that in conjunction, a lot of the people that help host the EV show are also hoping to attend the Climate Solutions Accelerator event. And then they have to choose between which
one
thing
go
they
to, 'cause they're the
participate
same-
in.
They're at the same time? Okay.
Yes. So
I just-
in the past couple years, the people who are volunteering for the show have not been able to attend this event. And it's a really wonderful event where there's learning and there's camaraderie and like it's great networking and it's people discussing different sustainable efforts that you can do around Rochester and Monroe County. So it's a really good event
Okay.
that we want to
And-
encourage them to attend.
In the history of handing out these bushes, these things were not necessarily going on at all. I mean, with the electric vehicle, we're talking a decade ago. Or
A decade ago, we were not even aligning with that type of thing.
Right, that's what I'm
but
saying.
that
So
is-
that's the difference now.
Yes. It's also the volunteers that are participating. Previously, when we just did handing out trees or shrubs, it was just the conservation board and town
Yes.
staff.
Yes.
Now, we're getting a lot more people that attend and participate because we're putting these events together. So we're hoping to touch the bigger audience, and that's how we've been able to accomplish that so far.
I wonder if other organizations that order the shrubs and distribute run into the same issues.
I'm not sure too many are doing it in the way that we're doing it, so.
So, I mean, I can tell you that, for example, the Monroe County Soil and Water end up having conflicts because there's a lot of Arbor Day events and there's a lot of Earth Day events. And then they're also doing the tree and shrub sale that weekend. And then that Saturday is always the leftover day where they're selling those. So a lot of those employees don't get to attend these types of events. And a lot of the volunteers don't get to attend. So, I mean, they're missing out on this type of opportunity that we're talking about. So yes, I would say there is conflict.
Well, I mean, it's probably trying to change the mountain, as far as the organization that distributes these, to say, well, can you, maybe you should think about making them available on a different.
So I know
timeframe.
they've considered that, and part of the consideration is the timing for plantings.
Yeah, spring plantings is still optimum for
Yes.
most of the trees.
So they provide these out of the Eco Park facility, so they're not standing outside handing them out, so they don't have to consider that. We have been able to do it in the community center, but again, we want to do it in conjunction with the EV show. And to see the vehicles, you need to be outside. So
Yes. Okay.
the weather hasn't been great,
No.
and it's been a number of years.
Yeah.
It does seem to be that way.
And early May isn't necessarily better, but there's a chance.
Yes.
One question about the EV car show is Penfield recently purchased an EV truck.
We're in the process of purchasing an EV truck.
Can that truck participate in the EV car show?
Assuming the timeline works out and we have it, absolutely. We brought the Bolt last year,
Okay.
yeah, and the year before, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, cool.
And the Bolt, I think, was at the park, not the Public Works presentation.
At the Machine
Community.
Mania?
Yes, that was so awesome. I fell into that one. I'd gone to the library, and I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, we were just talking about that today.
So many kids were just happy as a clam with all these trucks that were there. It was-
For anyone's information, Machine Mania is the event that the town put on previously where different town vehicles and say like the excavators, those types of things, as well as a fire truck or a school bus or other types of vehicles, maybe, so that residents can see them and see how they work, kids can sit in the driver's seat, that kind of stuff. So I know they're talking about that already for next year, and seeing what vehicles they'll be able to get that are not just towns vehicles, just to make it more exciting.
Stuff. Okay, anything else on our progress document? It does look, I am pleased to see the amount of completed at the bottom and the ones that are close to completion for this year as well, so.
I did add active transportation plan has its own page now, and the Great Lakes Action Agenda has its own page.
Great.
I can check. You may only have access to comment on this now. I can give you editing access, so you can add questions or other items to it. And then, so the completed goals section here, this is where I feel like it's a good staging area for maybe just coming up with those particular topics or items that we'd want on the sustainability webpage. You know, highlighting the decommission or the renewable energy systems code, and Tree City USA status, the Arbor Day celebration, the town native plants list, pollinator pathway, EPOD map updates, things like that are all things that could potentially be on the sustainability webpage. So yeah, if you have anything else or any other accomplishments that isn't listed here, feel free to add it in or comment on it. Yeah. So yeah, we'll keep this on the agenda for next month so that we can have follow-up conversations on what's been changed since now into the next meeting.
Yeah. Good. Okay, any other old business? No, I think we're ready to move on to new business.
Yep.
2026 EECC meeting schedule.
Yeah. So this is our schedule. There were no conflicts with any holidays, so it is continuing with that second Thursday of each month, 4:30 to 6 p.m. We'll continue to be before the planning board, meaning our meeting adjourns right before the planning board those nights. Does anyone have any questions or concerns on the schedule? We do need a vote, or typically that's been
To
the
approve
tradition,
it.
is to
Do we
a vote
need
to
a
approve
motion
it.
to approve the schedule?
That'd be great.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve the meeting schedule?
So moved.
A second?
I'll second.
Okay, call the vote.
Daly,
Aye.
Bennett,
Aye.
Green,
Aye.
Cheremeteff,
Aye.
Schichler,
Aye.
Cavaliere,
Aye.
Rygg.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay.
So the schedule will go to the town board for final approval at the beginning of the year. Generally, it gets posted on the website within that time or shortly thereafter.
Okay, good. Okay, that brings us to upcoming events.
Yeah, so this is one of the events that's, I would say, it's loosely tied to the pollinator pathway, these designing our future sustainable landscapes. And you can register on the Penfield Recreation website. I have the brochure ad here. So just learn about some of the valuable native pollinators and birds and plants that are common throughout the fall, so you can have an idea of what to plant for this coming spring. The town's native plants list does differentiate between like the blooming periods throughout the year, so you can kind of see what plants bloom, and the idea is that you want to have plants blooming throughout the year in your yard. So I think that that's one of the things that they may discuss. We have been tracking, so this is what the third class in this series for the Designing Our Future Sustainable Landscapes. So far, we have 11 participants in the Penfield Pollinator Program, and we'll check to see what it is after this class. Continue to do so, the idea being that like after we have X number, I'm not sure what that number would be, but the idea is that eventually we'll have kind of a map of the pollinator pathway participants across the town to show where the pathway is spreading to.
And to be clear, that map will not provide specific addresses.
Right.
It'll
Yeah.
just provide the general area in
Exactly.
town.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no personal information would be shared through the mapping.
Yep.
Okay, any questions on that? I know I signed up. I've gone to a park and rec in a bit, so it seems like a good time. Our next one is noted as the Climate Smart Communities Project Comment Period.
So this isn't just specifically for the town, it's for the state. And the amendment would repeal the current rule and add a new part 492 that is restructured to simplify and clarify the 3 separate programs. These programs are, the proposed changes would ensure consistency of regulation and provide additional flexibility and eligibility for the administration of the program. These are the zero emission vehicle, which is ZEV rebate program, the ZEV infrastructure grant program, which is primarily for charging stations, and then the Climate Smart Communities grant program. The Climate Smart Communities grant program is how we received the grant for the climate action plan this past year through the consolidated funding application, just for reference. So we're providing this information to you because the comment period is open until December 9th at 5 p.m. And there will be a virtual public hearing on December 2nd from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. So if this committee, any residents in Penfield want to make comments on that, please review the documents and participate, because people like you help make sure the things that matter go through, or don't.
I should mention that the public hearing isn't the only way that you can provide comment. You can also
Yes.
provide comment. Written statements must be submitted and postmarked to this address here. And then you can also email them to climate.regs@dec.ny.gov. Please include comments on Port 492 in the subject line of the email. But yeah, so this page that I'm bringing up is the one that's linked in the EECC agenda on the New York State DEC website. And so, yeah, that's where you would get all the information related to how to comment, the actual changes that are being proposed, and all of that.
So we just wanted to provide more public input, and by presenting that to you, that was part of our hope.
Yeah.
So
Sarah, in your role, did you apply to all 3 of those?
I've applied to 2 of them before, when they were open previously. Right now, one of them just opened in the last month, so we're looking at the possibility of applying and seeing what we can do with it. I know one of them generally, the Climate Smart Communities one generally opens later in the year, or I guess I would say earlier in the year since we're almost to the end. So earlier in 2026, we would likely look at that again. And ideally, we would look to apply for Phase 2 funding for the Climate Action Plan, assuming that is still an option.
So I admit I haven't looked deeply into any of these things, but it wasn't clear to me what the changes were, except this general comment about making it easier, which that always sounds good,
Well,
right?
and the general comment, I would say, is also our interpretation of it. But yeah, it's kind of complicated. Like, I don't,
I'm sorry,
I would say if you have any
Complicated.
specific questions, I'd be happy to kind of go through it with you. but I would have to have it in front of me or my notes for it in front of me to be able to give you more detailed information. Sorry.
No,
Yeah, the document didn't highlight, which we do when we're making changes, exactly what, showing what the changes were. So, yeah, I have the same impression. Katie,
Yeah, I would
was
say-
that it says expanding it to more vehicle, and make it easier for communities to get the larger vehicles. And it's like, okay, yeah, as long as the words coincide with that.
I would say that it mostly makes the requirements easier to review and more consistent for like when being reviewed. So I don't expect outwardly it's going to affect the general population greatly, but I think it would more so affect staff that are working on those applications. So like I will submit comments. I don't have any major concerns at this point. But I generally, when I'm looking at these things, look through them a few times before I submit anything.
Well, as a committee, months ago, we talked about, do we pursue climate smart communities?
Mm-hmm.
And we decided no, because we can do these actions without being part of the program. And we basically did a calculation of what is Sarah's time worth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think
Yes.
as a committee, we should give the state that feedback. Anything that makes their job easier means we can do more, right? So
Yes.
we made
Yes.
that calculation. Other communities maybe didn't do a deep dive and should hear that. Anyway. yeah.
Does the committee itself, though, do we have authority to issue?
I think we would need to do it as residents.
You as
Right.
residents have the authority
Right.
to issue comments.
Yes.
Right.
I, as a staff member that doesn't live here, have the authority, live in this town, and I live in New York State, have the authority to issue comments.
Right, but you're not submitting comments as like staff member of the Town of Penfield?
I will represent myself as a staff member of the Town of Penfield.
Okay. But there
Because
won't be
it's most
comments on
applicable.
behalf of the Town of Penfield?
No, I am, yeah.
Oh,
Hers are, yes.
Okay.
Ours-
I mean,
Hers
I
are.
could do it as a resident of New York State, but truthfully, I think in my opinion, I have the experience of filling out the applications and successfully getting a grant from here and not successfully getting a grant from here. So I have that input to give them as a staff member. And I personally think that input is more valuable from me as a staff member than as a resident. Not because
Right.
resident input is not important, but because my experience is.
yeah, I
So
understand the
I
distinction.
believe if the town board felt that this was a strong issue, they could ask us to create a comments. But for now, I believe it will be more effective as residents. on
Right,
our
so
part.
it's kind of inspiring each of us
Yes.
individually to
Yes.
step up.
That was
But you could
my
also
hope
do
in
it from
bringing
your,
up.
yeah, we could do it from your professional sense as well. I mean, there's lots of opportunities, but I'm pretty sure for most of us, our companies would also say that you can do it as a resident and not as a company. But some of you that may have your own businesses could indeed do that.
Sarah, you could do it twice.
Say that again?
You could do it twice as your.
And just submit the same comments?
Yeah. Wow.
That's a
Siri.
problem with my name, yeah.
But you could do it as yourself as a resident or a non-resident, and you could do it as yourself as a member of town.
Yeah.
I don't think they
I
like
don't
it
know
when
if they
they
would
get
consider
identical
that different.
comments.
My input would likely be the same.
Yes.
Get 2 votes instead of 1.
Well, a different focus though, right? As a,
Sure. Sorry.
Okay.
Either way, I will submit comments. Please also consider submitting comments.
Okay.
Yes.
The more input the state gets, the more likely changes happen. And I mean that in support as well as if you have feedback for changes.
Okay, so I do not believe, I guess I get to ask the question, is there any other new business?
Seeing as we have time.
Seeing
yes.
as we have
Yeah.
time. Yeah,
Right.
very good.
I was invited to attend a a climate adaptation and resiliency plan meeting with the county as a stakeholder for the town of Penfield. And I attended that. Out of that meeting also came information on some public meetings. So we wanted to share with this committee and residents the public engagement meetings for the Monroe County Climate Adaptation and Resiliency Plan. So this is phase 3 of the Climate Action Plan for Monroe County, and they're looking for input from the public. There's 2 meetings on November 18th. One is a Zoom meeting and held virtually from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m., and one is an in-person meeting from 6 p.m. to 7:30 at the Children's School of Rochester, School 15. This is an invitation for anyone in Monroe County, or anyone that owns a business in Monroe County, even if you don't live here, to participate. So please pass this information on to your friends, family, coworkers, and if you have input or think you might have input, please participate in this.
What day of the week is the 18th?
Tuesday.
Thank you. Okay, thanks. I would have gotten there, but yes.
What time was the earlier?
12 to 1.
Lunch.
And you can go to Monroe County climateaction.com to get a link to the Zoom. And they also request that you register ahead of time if you are able. You have to get the Zoom link for that part. But even possibly register for the public engagement meeting in person, just so that they have an idea of what room would be better to put it in. And you're not required to register for the in-person, but they just would like you to if you can. So if it's that night and you're like, let's go, just go. So, that was my only new item.
Okay. Is there anybody else that has anything new? I have just a little blurb. This morning, I got to go to the unveiling of the new logo for the H2O Hero. So if any of you are familiar with H2O Hero, I hope you are able to do that. I got to bring a little version of it here. So it's really cute. It's designed to make sure that we know that we all can be a hero when it comes to protecting our waterways. So it's going to be rolled out in the near future and kind of become a thing for next year so features an otter, a river otter, which is very applicable for our area.
Looks like they have it on the site.
Yes, they do have it on the site now.
They do? Oh, yeah, there it is. Cute.
Yeah.
The shape of a water drop.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's nice.
Is there anything else? You look
I
like
have
you
one thing.
something else.
Yeah.
Very good.
Luann Durin, member, leader of Color Penfield Green, is offering a class through the library called Pretty and Sustainable Wrapping, gift wrapping for the holidays. It'll be Sunday, December 7th from 2 to 3 p.m. And we've been working with the town. Luann's been heading up this project to try to collect more Christmas trees because the town offers mulching. And so we've been working with Bricolo and Rotary to recruit folks and truck drivers. And we're going to drive around on January 10th, I believe.
Do you have the ad on Color Penfield Green's website yet?
We don't.
Oh.
We should. That would be good.
Will you send us an updated one again? Okay. I know I have the last one, but I don't know if I have the most up-to-date.
Yeah, we're just trying to get, that is the most sustainable thing you can do with a Christmas tree is to mulch it, and the town provides free mulch in the spring, so it's a great full circle thing. And January 10th, it will be January 10th, and we'll have a way for folks to, let us know that they're going to put their tree out at the curb for us to pick up.
And if you can't put your tree out that day for any reason, you can also bring that to have it mulched at the town yourself.
Do you have to make an appointment at the town? You just show
There's
up?
drop-off hours.
Oh, okay, good.
Have the drop-off hours been opened up more than they were like 6 to 8 months ago? I know that there was. a lot of work going on.
There
that-
was an article on the town website
Okay.
recently about it, but I
Okay.
would have to look. Sorry.
I think they went into winter hours. I think it's like
Yeah.
9 to 5, Thursday through Saturday.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on it.
Can you bring other
Um,
trees besides Christmas trees? Just asking for a friend.
I don't believe that's offered, but if you want to definitively know, you can call the DPW, and they may tell you it's okay or not okay.
And for those of you that do not have live trees and have a artificial tree that has lost its luster, that is recyclable at Eco Park. So,
Yeah.
okay. Anything else? Okay. Given that, I call the November 13th meeting of the Energy and Environmental Conservation Committee adjourned.